in Charlotte, North Carolina, they have this thing, Charlotte's Web, where ICE is going in and deporting people. And Charlotte is having a big crime wave because of these illegals. I think all the illegals have to go. I think all the illegals have to go. I can't have compassion on 20 million people or however many people were left in. I believe that we should be compassionate. I do not believe that illegal immigrants are immigrants. I believe they're illegals. I think the key word in illegal immigrant is illegal. And I don't believe that they should stay. 20 million people came in. We can't listen to each person's story on the way out when they all came in together. If there were 10 of them, yeah, we could all give them, the Supreme Court has been giving Trump more and more power to deport people. That's something that the president is allowed to do. There are some, stopgaps and things that they can do, but they don't get a full trial. They're illegal people. They have to leave. And a lot of people have pointed out, as if I didn't know this, that many illegal immigrants are really good people who are doing really good work. And of course, that's absolutely true. I lived in California. Almost all the working people there are illegal immigrants, and they're lovely people, absolutely lovely people. And I will tell you something. I, too, am a good person, a lovely person. I am largely honest. Nobody is always honest, but I'm pretty damn honest, I would say. Hardworking. I'm faithful to my wife, and I love my family, and I do all the responsible things. But if I drive 85 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, a cop is going to pull me over and give me a ticket. And he's not going to say, you're a nice guy, so I'm not going to give you a ticket. I broke the law. He's going to give me a ticket because the law applies to me. There is no place where my niceness makes me immune to the law. Now, let's say the cop comes over and he recognizes me or he knows me from church or whatever, and he says, all right, well, it's you, and I know you're a great guy, and you probably weren't paying attention. I'm going to let you go this time with a warning, okay? All right, that's fine. But if 20% of the people on the highway are traveling 85 miles an hour, no, he cannot do that. He can't do that. For the safety of everybody, he has to give everybody a ticket. There is no place where you are such a nice guy that the law no longer applies to you, which is why we want fewer laws. We want, smart laws. We don't want there to be, they say commit a felony every minute or something like that. The law should be flexible enough so that not everybody is committing a federal crime at every minute, which is the state we're in now. But ultimately, you have to obey the law. So in Charlotte, North Carolina, they have this thing, Charlotte's Web, where ICE is going in and deporting people. And a lot of them are real bad criminals, and Charlotte is having a big crime wave because of these illegals coming in. And here is Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security, this is cut 9, talking about what's going on.
We're using the investigative cases that we've built on these individuals in that area to go out and after the worst of the worst. We're going after people who've committed robberies, assaults, DUIs, getting them off the streets, keeping people safe. That is exactly what the leadership in the city should be partnering with us on, and what the governor should be as well. But grateful that every single day I get to wake up and work for a president that just wants to protect the American people. So we've got many, many individuals we've already arrested and are bringing to justice and deporting, returning them back home to their countries. And all of that is built off of getting those worst of the worst off of our streets to make us safe again.
So the press, of course, which hates Trump, hates America, hates all the things that make us who we are, is covering this from the point of view of the people who are suffering. Now, there's so many illegals in Charlotte that something like 20,000 students or something like that failed to show up because they were afraid of being deported. And here is a Charlotte shopkeeper complaining that since ICE has moved in, she has no business. This is cut 8.
Just no customers. Mm-hmm. No customers. People are scared to come out. It's hard. It's hard for my community. For example, normally like on a Sunday, we would have like all 6 registers going at all time. 2 registers, maybe 3, but the sales as far as that has gone down. But not only the sales, it's just like our regular customers. Our regular customers, we don't wondering, make sure they're okay. Or like our regular Sunday customers, we didn't see none of them yesterday. So, obviously, I'm guessing they're scared, to come out. So, I mean, I would be too.
So here's the problem. So she would be too, and it's sad, and hasn't got business, and kids aren't showing up in school. Who knows you better than yourself? Your family? Your friends? Well, if you own any internet-connected device, there are thousands of companies that might know you better than you know yourself. They're called data brokers, and they make billions tracking everything you do online. Every purchase, every location, every conversation, your most personal beliefs, all packaged into a profile they sell to marketers, activists, and politicians looking to influence you. You could go completely off the grid, or you could just use ExpressVPN. These companies track you through your IP address, your digital fingerprint. ExpressVPN gives you a new IP address in a location you choose, making you virtually untraceable. With ExpressVPN, your connection is encrypted and routed through secure servers. Even your internet provider can't see your activity, which is important since they're legally allowed to sell your data to whoever they want. I use this on all my devices. You can put it on phones, laptops, tablets, and it's just one click for instant privacy. So even I can do it, just cuts out right away, and it comes on and doesn't get in the way of anything you're doing. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show. This is not you can't run a country like this. This is the problem of scale. I've said this before. It's not a bad thing. You may think it's a bad thing, but if a person is, say, gay, it's none of your business. But if our society becomes a gay-centered society, which is what the leftists tried to do, we're supposed to celebrate homosexuality 30 days. It's a month-long pride. And let me tell you something, nobody is proud of being gay. Gay people are proud of other things, but nobody's proud of being gay. It's a problem for everybody. So that's a problem. You cannot have a society that is not centered on the male-female bond that creates new life. If you do, you start to not have any babies at all, and you start to die, which is what is happening. And so the same thing is true here. The Pope is talking about this. And even the Pope, I have to say, to give him credit, said, that you're not supposed to have open borders. But he is saying, oh, we're being unkind to the people who are here. Well, no. Once you've broken the law is still broken. And I know I sound heartless, but I think we have to, and I don't want people to be tormented, and I don't want people to be tortured. But I think the thing that Homeland Security does, that Kristi Noem does, she has a commercial where she says, here's an app, you can self-deport. We'll give you some money. We'll send you on your way. If you don't do this, we'll arrest you, and then you're going to have problems. Then we're going to fine you, and it's not going to be fun. So, self-deportation is good. Prosecuting employers who hire people who shouldn't be here illegally is good. It is another thing that we can do to bring down prices, because to bring up wages, which fights inflation, because there's so many people who are taking those jobs. And this nonsense about the fact that Americans don't want to do those jobs, I don't buy it. I think, maybe another thing that we should do is make it harder. We did this for a while under Clinton, and it really worked out well. And then Obama, kind of quietly destroyed it, where we said, no, you have to go out and get work if you can before you get welfare. And that was welfare reform. And everybody said, this is going to be, you guys probably don't remember. This is back in the 90s. People were saying, this is going to be a disaster. This is going to be a disaster. It worked like a charm. The problem is the Democrats measure the success of welfare by how many people are on it, and Republicans measure it by how many people get off it. And it's more successful if people leave it. And so these are all things that can be fixed by getting rid of these people. And I don't want them tormented. I know so many, unless they're criminals, I don't care what happens to them. But I don't want the nice people to be tormented. But they got to go. They got to go. And they have to go because the Biden administration opened our borders and let them flood us and let them invade us. And that has to be stopped. You cannot have an invading army and then say, but they're here now. They're here now. We've got to stop let's call the war off because they're here now. No, they have to go. And this is not a lack of compassion. It is enforced lack of compassion in order to help my country get back on its feet. This is where America first matters. I am happy to have more immigrants come in, but they got to come in legally. So get out voluntarily, take some money from the state to get you back on your feet, and then come back in legally. I have no problem with that. It's not the immigrants. It's not their color. It's not anything about them. It's that we didn't vet them. We have to vet them. They have to want to be here. They have to love to be here. They have to subscribe to our values. and then they can come back. But it's absurd. It's absurd. And the protests against it are absurd. And the news media is disgusting for supporting them. For more Klavan-y magnificence, like and subscribe. And for even more, subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.